You remember Rachel, the one allegedly in the middle of the Solange elevator beatdown. You know who Rachel is. Mm-hmm. Well, you didn't know this part.
All right, y'all, let's clear this up. Because no matter what you've heard, Rachel Roy ended up playing the long game and winning. Even with the internet dragging her during the whole Becky with the good hair fiasco, she still managed to hold on to what mattered most: her brand, her name, and her place in the fashion world. See, from the moment she linked with Dame Dash, Rachel knew how to move. She convinced him to pour money into her fashion line, and once his fortune started sinking, she slipped right out of the picture. People have called her out for years for using him, but that never slowed her down. Even when her lifestyle started slipping through her fingers and her brand nearly collapsed, Rachel found a way to pivot. If one door shut, she was already knocking on another. And rumor has it, the next door just so happened to lead straight to Jay Z. Rachel's take? She allegedly did what any woman in her position would have done to survive. Now, the first time Rachel really stepped into the spotlight was through Dame Dash. When they went public, she officially snagged him. But her pattern of moving in high-profile circles started way before Dame. She was married to NBA player Yin Kader, divorcing him not long before his death in 2004. Then came Dame. She married him in the mid-2000s, and they lasted until 2009. But even before the vows and the breakup, their history together was already a wild ride. From the outside, it looked like Rachel had been lining herself up with Dame for a while. And here's where it gets even messier. These days, Dame and Jay Z don't even speak, but back in the Roc-A-Fella glory days, the two of them were inseparable. And word is, they weren't just sharing business, they were sharing women too. That part of the story isn't exactly a secret. And guess whose name comes up in those whispers? Yep, Rachel Roy. Allegedly, she was already in the mix with them before things got serious with Dame. But all of that came to a stop the moment Dame met Aaliyah. He was head over heels for her, and Rachel, she got pushed to the side, just like that. At one point, it became clear Rachel wasn't going anywhere. She and Dame already shared a daughter, Ava Dash, which meant their lives would always be tied together. And after the tragic passing of Aaliyah, guess who was right there in the wings waiting for Dame to circle back? Rachel Roy. It didn't take long before the two officially tied the knot. Now let's be real. Their marriage had people shook. Folks who saw them together swore there was zero chemistry, and many wondered how Rachel managed to balance Dame's fiery, over-the-top personality. But it didn't take much digging to understand why she stuck around. Rachel had been hustling as a fashion intern for years, grinding for her big break. What she needed wasn't just talent, it was access. And Dame Dash had the connections to unlock every door she couldn't reach on her own. By then, Dame was already dabbling in fashion through Roc-A-Wear, State Property, and C. Ronson, and he had enough influence to push Rachel into the spotlight. Once they married, her career trajectory skyrocketed. She went from intern to household name, with her designs worn by Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, Kate Hudson, Jennifer Garner, Eva Mendes, Kim Kardashian, and even Iman. In an industry as cutthroat as fashion, Rachel might not have pulled that off without Dame's network opening the way. But while her brand kept hitting new milestones, Dame's empire started to crack. Once hailed as one of Hollywood's most successful black moguls, his fortune unraveled fast. Behind the glitz of Tribeca lofts, London townhouses, New Jersey mansions, and Beverly Hills villas was a man burning through cash at reckless speed. He poured money into risky ventures, trying to keep Roc-A-Fella alive, but one by one, those investments flopped. If you ask Dame, he'll say he lost it all chasing his dreams. But from the outside looking in, it was the story of a man who had it all and spent it faster than it came in.
I would love to do the things Dame did. Fly private for 5 years straight. Buy 2 mansions in London. You got a mansion in London just for your niggas, and then a personal mansion in London for something else, or renting them or whatever. You just got mansions in London. We not even from London. We just going to fucking London, hanging out, not saying, I put on my artists, or really, more Jim and Jewels, but we was all Dipset, SAS, just out in London spending money. I would love to have 2 lofts in Tribeca right around the corner for each other. $20,000 for this loft, $20,000 for that loft around the corner. So you got $40,000 a month.
Rachel didn't waste much time worrying about Dame Dash's downfall. Instead, she added to his long list of problems by filing for divorce. And get this, she didn't even ask for spousal support. To her, Dame had become dead weight, drowning in financial mess while she still had her brand to protect. There was no reason to drag him along for the ride, so she cut ties completely and never looked back. But trouble has a way of circling back, and soon Rachel's fashion empire hit its own rough patch. In 2013, the Jones Group, her majority stakeholder, claimed they had lost millions on her line and announced plans to sell her trademarks for $15 million. Rachel fought back immediately, taking them to court to stop the sale, and managed to settle outside of court. The bigger issue, though? She couldn't afford to buy her company back. That meant she needed a lifeline, a powerful ally with deep pockets. And allegedly, that ally was none other than Jay Z. Their connection supposedly dated back to before she had even broken into the fashion industry, which only made what happened next all the more scandalous. Rumors about Jay Z cheating on Beyonce had been swirling for years, but things exploded after the infamous 2014 elevator incident with Solange. Then, in 2016, Beyonce released Lemonade, her raw and revolutionary album that made one thing crystal clear: Jay Z had indeed stepped out on her with Becky with the good hair. Fans went wild, dissecting every lyric and every clue to figure out who Becky was. That's when Rachel stirred the pot herself. She posted a selfie with the caption, "Good hair don't care, but we will take good lighting for selfies or self-truths." Anyway, and baby, that was all it took. The Bayhive swarmed her socials, flooding her comments with bee emojis and even altering her Wikipedia page. For a moment, Rachel became public enemy number one. But here's the twist. Despite the frenzy, she walked away relatively unscathed. Her brand bounced back. Her name stayed in the conversation, and eventually the internet moved on. These days, when people revisit the saga of Jay Z's alleged infidelity, Rachel's name barely comes up anymore. In a way, that's Rachel's real win. She weathered the storm, kept her brand alive, and managed to leave the scandal with far less damage than anyone expected. As messy as the story was, she still got what she wanted. And let's be honest, if it wasn't for Jay Z's alleged cheating, we wouldn't have gotten Lemonade, one of the most powerful albums of our time. So the question remains, if Rachel Roy was the infamous Becky with the good hair, was it really about her? Or was it just another chapter in the decades-long saga? Tension between Jay Z and Dame Dash?